things making the round across the nation. And of course, we give expert opinions about some of this issue, and you, our listeners, get the chance to share your thoughts as regarding some of these issues. Let's look into, in retrospect, what are some of the activities that should be carried out by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. You know, they said that some of their mandate is to protect and promote the interest and welfare of consumers by providing them with wider variety of quality products at competitive prices and ensuring the adoption of measures to guarantee that goods and services are safe for intended or normally safe use. They also initiate broad-based policies and review economic activities in Nigeria to identify and prohibit anti-competitive and restrictive practices that may distort competition or constitute an abuse of a dominant position of market power. That's what the FCCPC, that's what their mandate really speaks about. But in the course of the week, there were some developments in this regard. And you know, one of the things that was said would be the federal government, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has issued 1 month's notice to traders and other market stakeholders involved in exploitative pricing to crash the prices of foods. On Thursday, a statement by the Commission said the Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, Tunji Bello, gave the order at a one-day stakeholders engagement on exploitative pricing in Abuja. According to Bello, the Commission will begin enforcement after the expiration of the notice. He said that the meeting was to address the growing trend of unreasonable pricing of consumer goods and services and unwholesome practices of market associations. In his word, Bello reiterated, the issue of critical national importance of the day is the growing trend of unreasonable pricing of consumer goods and services across the country, and the unwholesome practice of market association engaged in price fixing. This forms the basis of some of the things we want to discuss this morning. But just before we move into this discourse, I want you to listen to what the Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, Tunji Bello, has to say in this regard.
Us to do what it is that we are doing and to call people to order. You can go to jail for doing what you are doing.
Check just a few days ago at a popular supermarket in Texas, United States, revealed that a fruit blender called India is displayed on the shelf at $89, roughly about 140,000 naira. The same product made by the same manufacturer was displayed at a popular supermarket at Victoria Island in Lagos at Naira 44,000, Naira 99.
I let some people, especially in the north, pay to these bandits to come and cultivate.
As we all know that exchange rate is very common, everybody knows.
Federal Ministry of Agriculture is on top of it.
If there is low duty on those imported goods, it means the price of imported goods, you producers, local producers, cannot compete with the international market.
And of course, that was the voice of Tunji Bello, the Executive Vice Chairman of FCCPC, giving some stance as regarding some of the moves that the Commission will take as regarding the arbitrary hike in food prices. Federal government gives 1 month deadline to crash prices as traders state reasons for hike. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has given a 1 month moratorium to traders and market stakeholders engaged in exploitative pricing to reduce the cost of goods and of course services as far as Nigeria is so concerned. This was announced by Tunji Bello, the newly appointed Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, during a stakeholders engagement on exploitative pricing held on Thursday in Abuja. Bello highlighted the growing concern over the unreasonable pricing of consumer goods and services, as well as the detrimental practices of certain market associations. And some of the things that he raised in this regard would be that under Section 155, violators, whether individuals or corporate entities, face severe penalties, including substantial fines and imprisonment if found guilty by the court. This is intended to deter all parties involved in such illicit activities. And of course, this will form the first basis of discourse on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM this morning. Professor Wole Akinyemi, once again, you're welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
Tayo, I welcome you once again.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. The very first focus on the show this morning, FCCPC's concern on arbitrary price hike. Prof, this is one of the developing things as far as Nigeria is so concerned. Federal government has given 1 month moratorium to traders to be able to cushion the effects of hike in the prices of some of the commodities in Nigeria. Professor Wole Akinyemi, what would be your take on this?
Let me first try and articulate a background to my submission. I'm surprised that we even have an organization called FCCPC in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Because I have had occasion to even ask that, do we even have any organization that is set up to protect consumers in Nigeria? And it's a surprise to me, a welcome surprise though, that Tunji Bello is coming out to say that yes, we have such an organization. Then if you have had such an organization, then it means that they have not been performing. Because if you look at it, there have been a whole lot of spurious charges from different organizations, companies, products, brands, and all of that, that Nigerians have been coping with over a very long time. Look at the kind of thing that is happening in banks, for example, in which when you deposit 50,000 naira, and at the end of the day, when you are going to get an alert, the alert will be 49,000 something. All sorts of spurious charges that they levy, and Nigerians keep quiet. Look at what has been happening in the telecommunications sector. Look at what has been happening in the fast food consumer group sector, where somebody will go and buy sardine. When I was growing up, there used to be 4 or 3 fish inside that thing. Now it's 2. Nobody has been able to explain to them, and the 2 is even smaller than what it used to be before. You go and buy toothpaste. What you have in the toothpaste will be 50% here and 50% of the toothpaste. All of these things is there all over. And because there is no sanction, everybody is just behaving the way they like. So it's a most unfortunate thing. But coming back to the pronouncement of Mr. Tunji Bello, it's a welcome development. But unfortunately, I see it as government playing to the gallery. Why do I say so? Government, as it remains today, they are the greatest seller to Nigerians. And what do I mean by that? They are the ones selling energy to us. They are the ones selling fuel to us. And their prices have skyrocketed so much that Nigerians can no longer even effect it. So the right thing for them to do, for them before they begin to make this kind of a policy statement to traders or to sellers in Nigeria, is that government themselves should make a deliberate attempt to bring down their own prices. Especially, I can assure you that if for one reason or the other government reduces the price of fuel to about 300 per litre today, prices of so many goods and services will come down naturally. Because what are the things? Let's talk about food, for example. If you're in a situation where somebody go and brings maybe tomatoes and pepper from Kano or Sokoto, and they are buying diesel of 1.5 million to be able to bring that truck to Nigeria, where are they going to factor that differential? And there, you know that in Nigeria we have some people that different kind of toll gates, people in uniform that are supposed to be taking care of our security, but instead of doing that, what they are doing is collecting toll. So you can imagine the number of states they have to cross before they get to Lagos or Ibadan eventually. And all of these things, they bring it to bear on the prices to customers. And then when it gets to the market again, you now have to deal with the market people, the market cabals, the so-called market leaders, who will say, okay, this is the price. They fix prices of goods and services, not minding, and they enforce it that is the way it has to be sold. I would have expected government to put in place machinery to control prices before coming up with this kind of pronouncement. As I see it now, it is a pronouncement that cannot be enforced because the machinery to enforce it is not there.
Prof, but the Tunji Bello has indicated that they are giving these guys 1 month, and of course they have a unit called the enforcement, compliance and enforcement unit there. If Nigerians do not adhere strictly by some of those policies, they would act. Don't you think this is a welcome development in that regard?
It's not a welcome development. Why?
Okay.
Because government itself, they have a compelling responsibility to bring down the prices of goods and services, especially in the energy sector and in the petroleum sector. Our economy here is oil driven, and we know that whatever that happens to oil happens to the rest of the economy. So it is like being hypocritical, saying that individuals should do what a corporate entity like government cannot do.
Absolutely. Professor Wole Akinyemi, we don't want Nigerians to forget so soon that there have been several efforts made by the present day administration in a bid to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal as Nigeria is so concerned. There have been several policies, several initiatives that has been done. If you, as a prof, if you have the opportunity to, speak to people at the corridors of power at this point in time in our nation, what would be your advice? Do you think the steps the government have taken in that regard are actually not the best line of action that should be taken, or maybe some of these things are really not done in the best interest of Nigerians?
I believe government may have very good intentions at the onset, but when you implement any policy and you think that policy is not working, the sensible thing to do is for you to reverse that policy, to listen to the voice of reason, especially of the people that you claim to be governing. The absolute truth of the matter is that government is listening more to the Bretton Woods institutions and our lenders rather than Nigerians, and because they are trying to satisfy the IMF, the World Bank and the rest of it, all the policies that they are implementing right now is anti-people. And that is very, very clear. You just go to the street. As I was coming, even in the rain today, you see people are still queuing for fuel. This fuel they are selling at 1,000 naira per liter. Do you think if any political party had come out when they were campaigning for presidential election to say that they will sell fuel for 1,000 naira per liter, you think Nigerians will vote for them? Let us be very, very honest with ourselves.
Absolutely. On the issue of fuel, scarcity queue at different filling stations. We're definitely going to be taking some opinion and, of course, thoughts from members of the public. They shared their thoughts as regarding the situation in those regards. Tayo, arbitrary hike in commodity prices. What would you make of this? FCCPC are out there. They are giving, the federal government is giving 1 month moratorium to traders. Don't you think these are efforts in the right direction to help cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal and hardship as Nigeria is so concerned right now?
Interesting one. Let me start by saying what are determinants of price hike?
Determinants.
Determinants.
Absolutely.
What are the determinants? Definitely traders will look at the cost of purchase, and definitely, like I always say, an average trader, an average market seller wants to make profits. So what determines the prices or the price that he or she labels unawares? You look at transportation. You look at how much does the person get it from the market. You look at various things. Let's take the issue of transportation, for instance. Petrol prices have gone to as high as 1,000 naira. And then you're asking people who probably transport their wares even more than the amount they bought it to sell at some certain prices. And then you ask the question, what is the government doing to solve that problem in the first place before coming to the market and say, we want you to drop your prices? Look at the issue of electricity. Take, for instance, someone who is selling beverages, for instance, definitely want to increase the price of beverage because he has to run on generators. And how much is fuel how much are they buying fuel to power their generator? Many things you should consider first before saying you want to come on board and tell people to drop their prices. What has government done? Just like Prof said, government has the sole responsibility to drop the prices of their own commodities too, before they come on board and say, let tell our market women and men to drop the prices of their own goods and services. Take for instance, I bought a good for 1,000 naira, and the total cost of transporting my goods to where I'm to sell it is around 1,100 naira. You expect me to sell that good for 1,100 naira too? Doesn't make any sense.
So I mean, government should take the right steps of action
before they come on board to say, just like the issue of first subsidy. All of us said, okay, we know it's time for subsidy to be
gone,
to let out, or anything they want to do with it. But then, what are the measures put in place before telling us that subsidy is gone? What are the palliatives on ground? I'm not talking about you distributing.
There have been palliative prior.
Before
rice have been shared. Funds have been transferred.
I hate it when I said rice. When people say rice have been shared.
But that is what government has indicated.
How many people on a daily basis get this rice?
You got the rice?
Where did I want to get it? Where do I want to get it from?
You got the transfer?
Where do I want to get it from?
But you submitted details. They have your details.
Let's not talk
Maybe you are not poor of the poor.
Maybe. But then, let's talk about some of these things. You say you want to distribute, you said you want to remove first subsidy, for instance, and then nothing has been done before removing the first subsidy. Palliatives. Let's reduce the cost of transportation for people. You've been hearing about CNG.
There have been CNG.
How many of them have you seen on the street of Ibadan?
I've seen some in Ogun.
On the street of Ibadan,
Yeah.
probably. I've not seen one.
Efforts are ongoing in that regard.
Then we are saying
government takes time. Government efforts takes time. And government of the day is saying, see, Nigerians, come, give us more time to be able to meet some of your demands.
No problem. The government too should give us more time to be able to enjoy fuel subsidy when they know they are not ready yet in tackling the challenges that lies ahead of the removal of fuel subsidy.
Of fuel subsidy, absolutely. Okay, in a developing story there, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) had earlier reported that Nigerian headline inflation rate decelerated to 33.40% in July from 34.19% in June, sparkling a glimmer of hope for many Nigerians. Food inflation has also dropped to 39.53% in July from 40.8% in the previous month. I beg your pardon. This drop, albeit minor, is attributed to the reduction in the prices of certain staple foods such as gari, akpu, fufu, fresh fish, among others. Professor Wole Akinyemi, the figures by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, I mean, they have the figures, they have all the indices to be able to come out and tell Nigerians, come, this is the report. Does this have in any way have any correlation with the present reality as far as Nigeria is so concerned? Because they've said the food inflation has decreased. Don't forget, some weeks back, the federal government also, through the Nigerian Customs Service, has indicated that taxes on import duty taxes are to be suspended till, let's say, the end of the year. Prof, these are reports in this regard. What would you make of this?
One thing is to have figures, statistics. The other thing is to go on the street and see how these statistics impact
Professor,
on Nigerians.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to tell you,
research are conducted through maybe survey methods, going on the street. Don't you think does our statistics or efforts of our research truly reflect the actual realities of the people?
That is where I'm going, because I do lots of research, especially marketing related researches. And I do know that it's possible for you to stay within the confines of your office, facing your laptop, and generate some spurious figures.
Exactly.
And then you come up that you have done some researches. And that is why you find out that most of the time, the report, the research, the figures that they fly about does not reflect the true reality on the ground. But I do agree that after the protest, it will appear that there is some slight reduction in the prices of goods and services, especially food. I don't think government is responsible for that. I think it is Nigerians themselves trying to say, okay, how can we really help ourselves? And I believe that government, if Nigerians have not gone on the street, some of even the policies that government is rolling out now to ameliorate the sovereignty of Nigerians, they probably will not even be talking about them at all. I mean, you can imagine somebody, an ex-senator coming up to say that, yes, 24 million naira allowance per month, that is it's the sort of paper they see it that it doesn't really mean anything, that is actually poorer being a senator. Who forced him to be a senator in the first place? Is that not insulting the intelligence of Nigerians? I mean, who are the people? What is the contribution of all of these people? How many times do they sit? That job itself, should it even be a full-time job in the first place? It's a job that can be done part-time. We see them covered, we see the camera covering them most of the time. You find out that about 50% attendance, at times less than that, is what you see. And they are not even serious. The courage and everything does not connote the kind of very, very serious national responsibility they are supposed to be carrying. It's like some of them are just there because of the perquisites of office. And what Nigerians are saying, this kind of situation cannot continue, because they cannot stay up there and be for crying out loud. If I hand 24 million naira, I understand that it's even gone beyond that now. That it's almost 30 million, 29 point something million per month. If I hand that, I won't cry to pay 1,000 naira per liter for fuel. How much? I will be able to fuel if I use an SUV, 75 liters. I said, fill it up. That's what I would say, because I don't know where that money is coming from. And that is the problem, because if the people that are at the top are not feeling what the people below are feeling, they will not be able to come up with the right policies for Nigerians.
Absolutely. In case you just tuned in, this is Omoluwabi 87.7 FM, broadcasting live from Mokola Hill here in the city of Ibadan. And of course, this is the show, The Discourse, where you, our listeners, get to share your thoughts as regarding some of the major salient issues making the round across our nation's polity. And of course, we have expert opinion as regarding some of these issues. You can do well to share your thoughts on Facebook. We've seen several people. Stephen Oyemi says, well said, Prof. We have Stephen Oyemi, we have Yemi Onigege. Well done, Prof. Well done. That's coming from Awoyemi Peter Olumide. Okay, Stephen Oyemi is also saying you are right, sir. Absolutely. You can share your thoughts. We are still talking or discussing the issues in relations to arbitrary hike in prices of commodity. FCCPC's boss has come out to tell Nigerians that efforts are ongoing. Enforcement will happen after the 1 month moratorium has given by the federal government. If people sell goods at exorbitant prices, very crazy prices, efforts of enforcement will be taken in that regard. We in the developing story, we also add this to take from the current DG, Director General of World Trade Organization, while she was addressing some members of the Nigerian Bar Association in a conference that was held in recent time, and she said some things in this regard as it relates to Nigeria. Don't go nowhere. When we come back, we'll still have more of these conversations to share with you. You have your opinions to share also in this regard. Don't also forget that you can be a part of the conversation by calling us on 0704 700 7999. 0704 700 7999. You can also do well to call us on 0805 388 8933. Till then, let's quickly pick what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has to say in this regard. We'll be right back.
Every one of us here in this room knows that Nigeria today is not where it should be. That our country has not progressed as it should have. That is why, more than 60 years after independence, the NBA annual general conferences are still looking at things like rebuilding Nigeria, charting a course for nation building. I say this not in recrimination or even in futile regret, but rather as part of moving our country and advancing its interests. We are living in very difficult times, locally here in Nigeria, but also globally. We have seen protests in this country a few weeks ago, but we have also seen protests elsewhere on this continent and beyond. These difficulties should make us think deeply and reflect on what is needed to move this country forward, so we can have the right type of conversation, not about blame games or recrimination, but about what we actually need to do to tackle present and emerging problems to assure a bright future for our young people in this country. Every one of us here in this room knows that
All right, you welcome back. It's still the discourse on omoluwabi 87.7 FM, and of course that was the thought of the Director General of World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She made several points in that regard, as indicating that the challenges faced is not just peculiar to Nigeria, but it's also an issue on the global scene. That rather than leaders and of course politicians engage in the blame game, efforts should be taken so as to tackle the prevailing issues affecting Nigeria. What would be your take in this regard? Tayo, let's hear from you. That was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She was a time minister of finance in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She's currently the DG.
She was a two-time
minister, absolutely. A DG too for World Trade Organization. And if she could say that it's really a challenging time for Nigerians at this time, what would you make of this?
We know it's a challenging time. It's a challenging time for all countries across the globe. But then, what are they doing to make the situation not go out of hand in all other climes? I think Nigerian leaders should take a cue from other leaders from outside the country, and then probably they need to go and study what they are doing differently. That is making their people not to come out to the street and be shouting, they being power, just like people are shouting on the street of Nigeria. Because definitely we know the world is currently undergoing a kind of economic recession, and then it's problems are created. Human beings are created to solve problems. So if human beings can solve problems, that means we shouldn't be created in the first instance. So we just implore government at all levels to look into these problems. I know we can. The thing about Nigeria is that we can actually tackle all of this if you have the right mindset and the right will to do it. But then it seems people just feel it's business as usual, and then it has been from time immemorial. But then it's because the problem at hand is very deep and very very cumbersome at this point in time. That's why it feels it's not been there. It's been there for a very long time. But then as it is now, we need urgent and strategic plans to make sure that we get out of this mess that we currently find ourselves.
Absolutely. Let's take a few comments on Facebook. Sulaiman Sharif says, good morning and kudos to you all in the studio. We do appreciate that. He says, if federal government gives traders 1 month to crash prices of commodities, definitely its leaders lead by example. Federal government should crash the fuel price, herbicide, fertilizers, interest rates, and improve standard of living of people due to reduce the scenario our government was off under Tinubu's government. Prof, that's a comment from Sulaiman Sharif. He's saying that government should lead by example. They should crash the prices of fuel and other commodities under their purview. Prof, I want to take your shot on this before we go on break. And when we are back, we have other issues to discuss. What's your take on that?
Well, Suleiman has just reinforced or reiterated our submission this morning. Government has a responsibility to lead by example. What they don't have, they cannot give. So in a situation where they are not ready to concede anything, they've lacked all moral responsibility, even legal, to ask any sector of the economy to reduce prices. Because it's a law that is not enforceable, and you see that how it goes. If government does not give some leeway, at least reduce prices on their own, then you find out that they find it very extremely difficult to reduce prices. Even if they roll out the entire security apparatus of Nigeria to enforce it, it will fail.
Absolutely. Don't forget, you're still on the discourse on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll go on this short break, and of course, when we are back, we're definitely going to dissect the other focus on the show this morning. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
The voice of integrity, 87.7 FM.
English.
In any emergency, every second counts. The Nigerian Communications Commission brings you the 112 emergency toll-free line, available nationwide, anytime, any day, absolutely free. With just 3 simple digits, 112, help is on the way. Dial from any network at any time. No charges, just immediate response. Remember, the 112 toll-free line directly connects to emergency services. If you need the police, Fire Service, Ambulance Services, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, and more. Because when it comes to saving lives, we're all in this together at NCC. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704 714 2000 or 0701 000 8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
My brother, say you said like as you get suffer. My fellow country people, I just come for you and I.
Life no suppose am like this, and that's now why millions of Nigerians they pay for everything with mobile. Dial *671# or download the new mobile app, make you follow enjoy this better life.
I will show you.
Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 Naira, while Super Pack is now 350 Naira. So hurry now. Offer valid until stock lasts.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. Baby, you need all the nutrients that will hold you tight. Baby, stay in power, you find it all in Peak. Baby, every move you make, Peak's got you all the way. Baby, and the Peak goes on.
Power on every morning with our Peak Protein Breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak, reach for your peak. Without you, there will be no us. Thank you for listening. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM, the voice of integrity.
Thank you for the happiest year of my life.
The voice of integrity 87.7 FM.
Alright, you welcome back. It's still the discourse on omoluwabi 87.7 FM, broadcasting live from Mokola Hill, in the city of Ibadan. We appreciate every of our listeners that have joined us on the show for some of your thoughts as regarding some of the issues of discourse that we have brought to the fore of discussion this morning. We sincerely do appreciate you. Thank you, Prof, for sharing your insight. And Tayo, I do appreciate. Moving forward to the second issue of discourse this morning. The 18 years policy for SSE in Nigeria, I mean, this has culminated and generated numerous issues by parents, educational stakeholders, and of course, children. Students who want to get admitted into tertiary institutions, many of them have said numerous things. In a recent development, the Minister of Education, has said something in that regard, that nothing would be, students will have to wait till they are 18 before they are able to write the SSE examination. This has generated a lot of discussions across different social media platforms. Analysts have said numerous things in this regard, and we've considered it very salient to have these also brought for national discourse. But just before then, we need to play this insert, and when we are back, we'll take experts' opinion as regarding this, and you, of course, our listeners, will also share your thoughts about some of those issues. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
You can't do NYC after 30 by their policy. The child delays. The first jam, he made it. Second one, he couldn't make it. Third one, he couldn't make it. So he come to school. Before you know, he cannot. Employment, you're saying 40, 45. So many things are wrong. What have Nigerian youths done to them? Why are they always on Nigerian youths? Why would the Nigerian youth suffer so much? And now you're asking the bright Nigerian youth not to go to school. What is the problem with being a youth? Is it a crime to be young and brilliant? Is it a crime to be energetic, smart, and adventurous? Is it a crime to know what to do, how to do it, and to be academically sound? If you teach in university and you don't see young people, you'll be happy. It's not graduate school. It's not graduate school. When you see young people, you know you're teaching people. When you're in a graduate school class, it's different. So I think, and I said it now again, this policy does not deserve to move to public space. Whoever brought it should rethink it and withdraw it. Thank God the president listens. He has done a lot of those things. He's a listening president. So I call him on Mr. President. Mr. President, please, you went to Chicago very young. Your ESCO members are quite young. This is one thing we want young people to have, a chance to express themselves in academics. They are extremely excited that they are allowed to come to college, and they compete with each other. If you cut them off, 2 years for a child that finished at 16, 3 years for the one that finished at 15, because when people are really young, at 30, that would be dangerous. You're asking.
All right, that was the voice of one of those people who shared his thoughts as regarding the policy by the Ministry of Education as far as Nigeria is so concerned. There were different assertions made by numerous unions. Nigerian Union of Teachers has indicated that it will draw back education in Nigeria. We appreciate everyone that have joined us on Facebook. We've seen a lot of your comments coming up there. We sincerely do appreciate, and we do not take it for granted. Parents, we will go to court. That's from parents. And YX says, we will respond later. Konwa says, we want a meeting of stakeholders. As you said, why are parents rushing their children? I mean, these are some of those things that has been said. Critical stakeholders in the education sector have condemned the decision of the federal government to peg the age at which students can write the senior secondary school certificate examination, SSE, at 18, saying it will draw the education back. Professor Wole Akinyemi, let's take your comments in this regard. Nigerians are so concerned. Parents are so concerned. Children too, students who are highly cerebral are so concerned that do I need to wait till I'm 18 before I can write SSE? Then when do I want to get to the labor market? Others have also raised concerns in relation to the fact that even Nigerians who finish school at a very tender age might need to wait longer years before they get job. Prof, what are your thoughts in this regard?
I wrote school certificate some 51 years ago.
51 years?
Yes. And I recall very well that was the time when government had a policy that the school calendar should end June. And because of that, I ended up using 4.5 years in secondary school instead of 5. That means that I finished school certificate before I was 17. 51 years ago, for crying out loud. So how can a government, any responsible government, come up in 2024 and be saying that people are too young to enter or to write school certificate at the age of 18? These people are being unfair. They are being wicked. They are not focused. Let me tell you, our founding fathers in Nigeria, all of them fought the colonialists at very tender age. For crying out loud, Anthony Enahoro was an editor, 24-year-old editor, when he moved the motion for the independence of this country.
Absolutely.
General Gowon was a general, a full general. He was 31, 32 when he was a full general in the Nigerian army. General Obasanjo, he was in his 30s when he was commander of the 3rd Marine Commando. All of these people are young people that excel at very tender age. Murtala Muhammad, he died at 38. He'd been everything that anybody could have wanted to become in Nigeria at 38. So what are these people saying? Let me tell you, they are being hypocritical, they are being wicked, because as they are trying to implement this policy, all their own children will be entering foreign universities at 15, some of them at 14. And they don't care about what is happening to the majority of people.
Professor,
I think the policy is wicked. Absolutely. I think it is a policy that is retrogressive, and I think it should be condemned by everybody.
Absolutely. Let's take some few comments from our listeners at home. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Oluwadamlola. I'm calling from Bodija.
From Bodija. Let's have your take on the show this morning.
All right, let me pick from where the analyst stopped from.
Absolutely.
The truth is, the children of our ministers, the children of our leaders are not in Nigeria. Most of them had their first degree even before 21 years. And why bringing such law to us? Now, if they want the law to stand, let them bring back their own children to Nigeria. Some banks will tell you that they want 21 years. And some will be telling you at 25, if you want to work with them as a banker, they will tell you they need like 4 to 5 years experience. How do we go about it? Are we forgotten that this is Nigeria? Strike will hold, though. Things will happen that will slow down education in this country. They are just being selfish and self-centered. It's just as if they want to keep impoverishing us in this part of the world, and God will not allow them to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your contribution this morning. We do really appreciate. Tayo, let's have your take in this regard. You also, our listeners, can be a part of the conversation by calling the studio line 0704 700 7999, 0704 700 7999, or you call 005 388 8933. To our Facebook lovers and fans out there, we're definitely going to take your comments in a jiffy. Tayo.
I think that's a policy that is not being properly thought of, because I don't understand why you just come on board and say 18 years. You must be 18 before you are allowed to write WAEC or NECO or anything. Okay.
Let's take this call. Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you calling from?
This is Taiwo from Amuluku.
Mr. Taiwo from Amuluku, let's have your take.
Yeah. I want your guest there.
Yes.
Your guest there to answer these questions.
Okay.
The minister said the policy is global standard, and this thing has been produced in advanced country. Is it true? If it is true, how can we marry? Because people are complaining. I don't know. I've not been to overseas.
Okay.
Is it possible over there? If that, let the man answer that.
Absolutely, we'll take that. Thank you very much for your take. Taya, let's take you. You were saying something that this would draw back the educational system in Nigeria.
Definitely to draw back the educational system in Nigeria, because I don't understand why you come on board and say 18 years before you can write WAEC or NECO, and then after even writing the exams, you still have to wait to write JAMB.
And JAMB might even jump you.
Exactly. You're not even certain if you pass JAMB. You're not even certain if you get admitted into the university. So all of this put together, it's asking the question: are we retrogressing or we are moving forward? And then, just like the last caller asked, you've seen scholars, you've seen young children, people in their teenage years, being graduate of universities across the globe.
Yeah.
So what's the minister coming to say is the global standard?
Okay, just before we take Professor Wole Akinyemi on that, let's take a few comments on Facebook. Oluwaseun Root says, on the ultimatum given to traders to crash the prices of goods by federal government, can't work because if they have created an enabling environment for our farmers and finding lasting solutions to the issue of fuel scarcity, we won't be having issues of high inflation rate. I would just urge the federal government to grant state police and also allow a local security outfit to bear sophisticated weapon and also revive our moribund refineries so that all these hardships can come to an end. That's a comment from Oluwaseun Ruth on Facebook. We also have Olukoni TNM says, well done, sir. We appreciate you. We have Komolafe Olaleye Olamilekan says, the Ministry of Education decision is ridiculous, considering the fact that we live in a country where ASU strike takes almost 2 to 3 years from students' academic calendar. Yet, employers will say they want graduates that are not above 25. What a country. That's coming from Komolafe Olaleye. And Feintola Abiola says, the Ministry of Education's policy will affect our educational system, and I'm urging the National Assembly to review the policy. Prof, these are comments on Facebook. The last caller also asked a question. Is this global standard, as the minister has indicated? What would be your take in this regard?
Well, to first respond to the last caller, psychologists believe that you should be psychologically matured to attain certain responsibilities. But while we are talking about that, there are some child prodigies. As we speak, there are some people that even finish at Oxford PhD at age 17.
Absolutely.
And they are absorbed into the system and they are contributing their quota. So what therefore I'm saying is that why is it that is the retrogressive aspect that we, like in Nigeria, we have not designed any special program for our top brains, children that are prodigious like that, how we can tap into them and quickly develop them for the development of this country. We are not thinking about that. Let us be let us call a spade a spade. A section of the country is determined to slow down the rest of the country educationally. That, and I will tell you, it's a systematic thing. It starts with the free education in the West. They made sure they bastardized it. They took over. When they couldn't finish with that one, they took over the mission schools, centers of educational excellence. They made nonsense out of it. Then they changed from, I spent, like I told you, I spent 4.5 years in the secondary school. In 73, you can as far back as that. Now they took us to 6334. Now we are implementing that. We are not finished it. They came back with JAMB, which when I finished secondary school, at that time you apply to the university that you want, and yet there was nothing like JAMB. And it's the university senate that determines whether you are going to be admitted or not. But here now you have different score point or cutting point for students. They will say, okay, because some students are from certain section of the country, they give them concessions, and these same people are the people who will come up and be ruling Nigeria. That is where we are now, because we are not being fair. We are not putting forward our best 11 in anything. In fact, if all the commissions that we have, I'm sorry, it will sound funny, but the C in it, I see it as corruption, whether NNPC, FCC, whatever, CCC, whatever you see that it ends up. The C, the last C there is corruption. So this is a policy that is very, very retrogressive. It is not designed to move Nigeria forward. It is something about quota system. It is a deliberate attempt by people who supported Boko Haram, because Boko Haram is an abomination. That is what they are carrying to policy level by implementing this kind of a policy, and I think should be roundly condemned.
Absolutely. We are a bit pressed for time. Tayo, let's have your parting shot on the show as regarding some of these issues of national discourse. What are your takes?
Okay, let's talk about the government today. The government should please watch out for their policies, and then Nigerians are tired. Nigerians are boxed up already, and then the government should be careful. And as Nigerians too, let's be patriotic too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tayo. Prof, in 20 seconds, let's have your final shots on the show.
Our leaders, whether they like it or not, the future belongs to the youth. If they decide not to leave the place, nature has a way of pushing them away. They should think of living a very, very good story behind. Legacy is very, very important. It's much more important than the property all of them are acquiring now.
As we draw the curtain of the show this morning, let's take this last comment on Facebook. Gibson Oluwatobi Aletile says, when you have a minister in wrong office, that is the result you get. The minister does not know anything about education at all. He's a failure. Okay, he has failed as a minister already. We sincerely want to appreciate everyone who joined us on Facebook, on YouTube, and people who listened via Radio Garden. Every of our callers, unfortunately, we can't pick some other calls. We see the phone lines beeping. But we sincerely want to appreciate you, Prof. It's an honor. We are glad that you joined us. Tayo, thank you so much. Elio, for the technical works you are doing there on Facebook, and of course the studio operation. We sincerely do appreciate you. Don't forget, nation building is your responsibility and my responsibility. We all have a role to play. Nigeria belongs to you and I, and we can make it better. Thank you so much. Till we come again, till I come your way next week, same time, same station. Don't forget, this is the voice of integrity. This is where you get the best of news, talk, and of course quality music. It's bye for now.